Hey everyone, welcome back to STS, your favorite parkour podcast with Coach Renee and Coach Tom. Today, it's 2022. Well, not just today, but just in general, it's 2022. We finished up, or we're into the new year. We finished up 2021, and the Storror Awards came out recently. So we wanted to cover that. We wanted to talk about it, see what we agreed with, what we disagreed with, what our big takeaways were. So why don't we start? How did you feel about the Storror Awards this year?
Yeah, I really like the Storror Awards. I like what they're doing, using their brand to draw attention to everyone else that does parkour. And even if they didn't have money, it's a lot of money. It's that 20 pounds, which I think is like
20,000 pounds.
Sorry, 20,000
That's a big
pounds.
difference there.
I'm trying to go. I was like about to say like 20K, and then I kind of cut off there. But that equates to like I know at least 40K Canadian. I think it's close to that in American dollars. So if you're looking for that currency exchange, way more money than is being given away for any event in parkour to date. So even like FIG comps and stuff like that don't quite come close to that amount of money. But even without that, I think it's just a cool thing they're doing with tons of different categories, which we're going to get into. What are your thoughts? Do you enjoy what they're doing?
I love the Storror Awards. I think it's awesome. The cool thing is people are going to be doing parkour and uploading videos on their own without this. But now this adds like an extra layer of incentive to try to get that dinger or try to put out your best work for the year and see if you can get best male or best female or some of these other really interesting categories, and it incentivizes people to keep exploring their type of parkour, because not all competition formats lend themselves well for certain types of parkour. So I think Storror Awards is a really great opportunity to do that through this video-based competition for the year.
All right. So we are going to jump into it, into the different categories, and we're going to start
We're not going to cover all of them.
No.
So, but we wanted to cover some of the ones that we felt like were either we didn't quite agree with, or we wanted to bring mention to just because it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of them, such as the first one. So for me, best male, Dom D. Tommaso, Dominic Tomato. I don't know what he's most known for, but referenced in the video most of the time. We have Dom as best male. I think it's undeniable. The one thing I'm going to point to, and I think you agree with this, is it is unfortunate that, again, I say undeniable as best male in parkour for the year of 2021 has kind of sloppy fundamentals when it comes to parkour. But you can't take away from just the feats he's doing, things that no one else is gonna do. Then when I say sloppy fundamentals, he's still very skilled, clearly, you're very, very high level of skill. It's just that his actual stick tech, his climbing tech, and there's just things that I personally, out of someone that we're calling the best of the year, I'd like to see some more polish on.
Yeah, so this was an interesting part of the Storror video, which was there was a kind of a split decision between Dom and Verky, and I think Travis is such an incredible athlete, and I think he's more well-rounded than Dom. He can do a lot of things that Dom cleaner than what Dom could do, but he's still not doing he's not quite at the game-changing level that Dom is continually showing up for. And Dom got injured at the end of the year, or towards the end of the year, and he's still missing a few months of performance at the highest level. He still won best male, and he still was able to accomplish a lot this year. So I actually I feel for the Storror in a sense, because I actually feel that is actually a tough call, because I think Verky is absolutely on the come up and has the potential to win in future years and be a top level, no question about it. But yeah, for me, Dom took it as well, so I would have voted for Dom, but it was definitely a hard vote in my head as well. But I agree with you. Dom has a lower standard for his stick technique, for example. his climb up is not very good, not close to the standard that I have in my head as like a good climb up. But he does things that I have absolutely no interest in ever being able to do because it's so terrifying. I mean, I would love to be able to do it, but I just don't think I would ever do it, just because his ability to send is just like incredible. And I mean, we'll get into some of the other things later, but as you said, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Some of his technique is a bit sloppier. His standard is a bit lower. But I was talking to you yesterday, and I actually think that's part of why he's so good at what he does, is because he doesn't get caught up. I mean, a lot of people in parkour, it's like, oh, I have to make sure I stick this perfectly. Even if I stick it and it's like the slightest bit off, I have to go back and perfect it. I think that's a really good quality in parkour and a good quality in many parkour athletes. But I actually think that Dom's ability to just accept, okay, I landed it, I slid a little bit on the landing, but I'm going to take that one and then move on to the next thing that's going to be bigger and crazier. So he saves some of that bandwidth. So he saves some of that, some of his body to try the harder, crazier things instead of just putting all his effort into one specific challenge that he didn't quite get as clean as, somebody online is going to criticize him for.
Yeah, which why would they? Unless it's me or you.
Yeah. We love you, Dom.
No, I can't, like I said, can't take away from him. For me, it was actually like just an easy call. I was actually even kind of surprised that there was
a split.
Yeah, a split between him and Verky. Like I do get it in what you're saying, but to me it was like a clear case for Dom, because also just you have to put into the fact like the impact he's making on parkour. And so they brought up the fact that it's like, oh, mainstream people would clearly say Dom, and it's like, yeah, that's important. Yeah, it's important that's being part of the case. And it sucks to be I guess a younger athlete. I don't know, like Verky, does he fit into the youth category that they did? Like maybe he could have won that.
I actually don't know how old he is, but I mean, I think he might be like 18 now, so yeah. Like potentially like just outside of that youth category. But man, like has so much runway now to like improve and be even better. Yeah. So I mean, like I think what's cool about it was like that was very much like a shout out to Verky, because it's like so clear that this kid is on the rise and he's unstoppable.
Yeah. And then you have the honorable mentions or nominees with Ed Scott and Brody Pawson.
Yep.
Ed Scott being right up there with Dom and Verky in terms of like versatility and just ability to do, like, he's great at parkour, great at the style side of things as well.
And work ethic too. Like,
yeah.
He's like, I mean, we talked about Breach. I mean, he was like the standout from everybody on the tour. Everybody was like, yo, Ed's just literally pulling the team. Everybody, like, Ed's just showing up every day and getting multiple clips. So, I mean, undeniable, like, top level athlete.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to draw the line, but I think the distinction there, especially for Dom, is just the fact that he's going out. He performed multiple feats this year that no one else is going to touch. And in parkour, we don't have a lot of competitions, particularly not in 2021. He tends to not really do well with the formats either, but he's showing up to, using with the lack of competition field, showing up and doing like incredible feats that, again, no one else is going to do. Whereas a lot of the stuff that Ed might do is repeatable, except for maybe his line building is on a like world class or untouchable level, which is why he wins competitions.
Yeah, that's totally true. All right, well, I think we should move along here. So we got a few others on the list here that we wanted to get to. The next one, I don't think we should spend a lot of time on it. Best female, Hazal. Is this a surprise to you?
No, and when it's kind of funny that they had to talk about her being in a relationship with someone on the team, and they're making the call and they were going to put her in it, but that I don't know, like maybe they could have had her win, but then had another second or something, but it just didn't make sense.
Hazal, I mean, no question about it, like top level female athlete of the year. Like when I think about the field of female athletes, there's a number of really great ones, and I think some of them were included in the runners-up or like the nominees. But Hazal stands like head and shoulders above the rest in my view.
There's a gap.
Yeah, there's a massive gap, and so yeah, I mean, and like other like top level females like Sydney Olsen, like she was injured for the better part of like most of 2021, so she's not even able to show up. And so other people like both Lisa's, Tam, like these are really top level athletes. But it's like it's hard to like when you compare what is being done at the highest level with Hazal, it's just like I can't imagine all these other females actually showing up to that level.
Yeah, and I compare it to sports that, another sport that is very like near and dear to me in terms of being a fan of is MMA. And when they announce things like Fighter of the Year awards, it's how many appearances were made, how many dominant appearances were made.
Yeah.
And in parkour, they're talking, the Storror guys are talking about consistent on Instagram, consistent on YouTube. What does that mean? Well, what it should mean is that there's punctuated points throughout the year where it's either like a YouTube video or an Instagram post that is just, I think that's what they should be basing like best male and female of the year on. And yeah, like there are moments in the year where I can think of bangers put out by Hazal that none of the other mentioned women's really had that effect.
Yeah, I agree. On to the next category.
On to the next.
What do you want?
So we had Flavour.
Favorite flavor was the category, which is really just video of the year. Yeah, so video of the year. And that was Capstone Australia. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I had really high hopes for Capstone. To date, I've only watched the video once. It delivered in terms of like action and what I thought it would. It wasn't like my favorite edit or anything, which is probably why I didn't watch it again. And plus, like a lot of the big clips you can watch again on IG as it goes. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of another video that stood out where I'm like, yeah, that had more of an impact.
I agree. Yeah, Capstone was, for me, it was like I had it built up in my head like this is gonna be the coolest video ever. And then when it dropped, I was like, oh, okay, it's good. I wasn't like whoa, blown away, but it's undeniable that it had a massive effect. It sent waves throughout the community. It's changed people. Like, I mean, I think of Vince here is now like arms, like standing arm jumps or cat leaps, like level or downward ones. Like people want to do big drops and big moves, and it sent ripples throughout the community in terms of what like its influence, right? So
it's funny to talk about it because we're just like two old hipsters here talking about how it didn't really have the impact we wanted. It's like the whole point of the video is like massive impacts.
Yeah,
like everything that's thrown. Just I don't know if it was like the song choice that didn't vibe with me really, or yeah, again, old hipsters. So.
I mean, we could go through and break it down, but I felt like there was like two intros for the video, which felt like, okay, like when is the video dropping? Like when is the video part dropping? And then, I don't know, like all of the things were in it were bangers. I was like, part of me was like wishing there was more line development, but I guess that wasn't really the point of the video, so I can't really criticize it on that point. But overall, I still think it was a great video. I'm just like, for me, I had this idea of what it was going to be, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, it was still awesome, but it left me wanting more, I guess. So
yeah. Well, and I do.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I do want more. Like the video they're working on right now, is sure to be a banger. And whatever didn't work in that first one for anyone, I'm sure they're gonna, if they didn't quite get the amount of views they wanted, I'm sure it's gonna get worked out in the next one. Still, again, easy takeaway for video of the year, but part of that too is like, well, there's just not as many parkour videos right now, which I think we're gonna get into in the next category.
It's funny because I can't really think of anything to even compare Capstone to.
Breach was mentioned.
Right.
We did a whole STS episode already on Breach and kind of like some of the things that hit and missed with that. But yeah, I don't think I wouldn't put Breach very close to Capstone in terms of like video of the year.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that one.
And so the next thing is also like another video of the year, which is One Man Army, and this went to Yanis Shower. I just watched this video this morning. I didn't like. I guess I saw something on Instagram that said that he had put out a video, and I had seen some cool like Instagram posts around it, but I didn't. And I think I'm actually subscribed to him on YouTube, and you know how I use YouTube. Like I only watch my subscriptions. I don't actually explore on YouTube. So somehow I missed it. But I watched it this morning. Yeah, great video. Or I guess I don't know. I'm kind of lying right now because I think for a video, not great video, great showing, like great showing by Yanis Shower, great athleticism, great feats, not great video, not a lot put into the actual like video production.
Yeah.
And so you have some other candidates here in the in like there was more. So we had Project Dive Roll from Denister. We had Wangson Yang's Controlled Descent, and then we also had Daryl Stingley's Trials Morales, and those three had a lot more like video production. So not only were they like part of the one-man army category, but they also could have maybe been in the flavor category. But in both cases, so you have like Capstone, where like there actually isn't a lot in the video production side, although more than Yanis Shower's video, and then Yanis Shower's video where there's like even less video production. It's more about, so I don't know if these two categories are more about just like unreleased feats.
Yeah.
So feats that have not been shown to the world in video form yet, and then they're being compiled together, and that seems to be, for the Storror guys at least, seems to be like the leading criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I love Yanis Shower's video because of what he's doing in it. It's always so like innovative and cool, but I struggle with it because it's not a super well produced video. It's like I feel like Project Dive Roll 2 is probably should have won that category, because I feel like he's or you know, I could also make the argument for Trials Morales actually. So like both, I feel like it would be between those two in my head of like one man army, because they're putting more into the production of a film, making a good video, but also it's featuring one athlete who's doing all of the work. You know, like, hey, hold the camera here, do it like this so that I can, showcase it, and then editing it too, right? So like Denister did all these like fancy edits in Project Dive Roll 2. He's also pushing that game further than I think that almost should be another category, is like the specialist category, right?
Yeah, I guess what maybe you're asking too from Storror in these two categories, like the favorite flavor and the one man army, both video of the year categories, is I guess just like a clearer criteria. I mean, they can do whatever they want. They don't have to come, like, this isn't like an official competition.
They don't owe us an explanation for anything.
Yeah, again, still loved like the product, enjoyed watching the Storror Awards and everything. It's just, I think for some of the athletes that were like nominated, they're probably like, well, what do I have to do? And they could look at something like Yanis Shower's video and be like, that was video of the year. Like,
yeah, I just have to be really good.
Yeah, I just have to be okay. Just do all my best clips. Get someone to like hold the phone. Like there's shaky parts. Like Yanis
just put them all into a timeline, but just be Yanis Shower, and then you'll win.
Yeah, and if that's the criteria, if it's just like unreleased bangers, regardless of like how good the video is, then that's clear. But I guess it's just what I'm saying is it wasn't clear.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I also think one man army is like, okay, you're not just the athlete, but you're also the video producer. You're also like the editor. You're the director in a sense of how you put together the film.
And that's not clear either. Like, what if I don't know? What if someone else edited Yanis's video? Would he still win?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. Answer it for us. Someone.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next category we wanted to talk about was the Banger Award. Mm-hmm. So the winner was Ilya Movahed.
Sure.
Okay, and he did like a tack palm double back flip. Mm-hmm. And in the line, right? So like that was the kind of the start of the line, and then he did some other stuff out of it. And this was actually a viewer voted category. So they had, I think, 9 nominees with different clips, and this was one of the clips. And then people voted on Instagram which one they wanted to win, and then this is the one that won. So, what do you think? Agree, disagree?
First of all, I'm not a fan of like user voting as the only metric. So I don't know. They might want to rethink that one. Is like you could do every category, and that would be like a cool way to get like user interaction. So like audience interaction with the awards.
Our audience voted for this, but
Yeah. Well, like it could if
we chose.
I can't remember how many members in Storror, but like say they have 7 votes,
7, yeah.
and then 1 vote is audience vote.
Oh, okay, yeah, something
That
like
would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, leaving it all up to the audience usually not a good idea. I thought, and again, banger clip. Okay, so what are we defining as banger clip? Probably like the impact it has on the community, and I think this one should have also went to Dom.
Yeah, Dom's Kong Front Prix.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
IMAX.
I think it also should have went to Dom. I was actually questioning this yesterday with someone in the gym, just asking like, okay, has palm double back been done before? And then someone said, oh, it had been done on grass. I don't know, still like crazy impressive.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it done before, but yeah, I mean, not probably wasn't done on hard ground. This is probably the first time, or close to the first time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, this is the first time I've actually seen this clip.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So like watching so in terms of like banger is banger something that was really awesome that's maybe underground, or is a banger that's like something that actually was influential in the community? Like maybe this was really influential and I'm not aware of it. It's not the style of parkour that I practice, so I struggle with thinking that this is the winner of it.
Well, another way to think of it is like, what was the bang that was heard around the world?
Yeah.
If we're like, what is the bang? Like the Kong Front Prix was heard around the world at the time.
Yeah.
That was everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my one disagreement here is that before the year's end, Dom's Kong Front Prix at IMAX was repeated 2 times by 2 different people. So I think that's correct, but it was definitely repeated at least 1 time, maybe 2 times. So is it a banger? Absolutely. Is it influential? Absolutely. Is it as hard as we thought it was? Maybe not.
Okay, so but to use that same argument, like, so out of the other nominees, was there anything that was done that like no one else has done before? And we're kind of questioning the palm double back, as like I've for sure seen it at a gym. I've for sure seen it.
I've seen it done outside, but I think it was on grass. For me, Verkey, you're gonna disagree with this. Verkey's rail Kong gainer to roll bomb roll. To me, that is like to me it defines it as a banger. It's like that is a banger clip. It might not be as influential as Dom's Kong Front Prix, but very few people, if anyone, would do that. And I know it was hard because he said it was like one of the hardest things he's ever done. So to me, that's like, that fits the definition of banger, because like, damn, that's a banger clip. But
yeah, like for me, that one is like all about how wide the wall that he landed on was. Like, just being, fair, because like that's everything. Like if and I can't tell from the angle of the clip. I guess I'll have to take a look again. But that's like kind of the one for whatever reason, when I first watched it, I was just like, rail Kong gainer to roll thing. I didn't even think about the width of the wall, and like you actually had to point out to me like, no, that wall's really thin. I was like, oh, why didn't they shoot it better? Because it's very clear like the consequences for the IMAX Kong Front, and like why it makes it a banger, which also kind of gets into, I don't know, we could probably move on to the next one here, because it kind of gets into the send it category. We can't give them all to Dom, but we gave this one to Dom as well. I mean, if he wins like three things, that would be quite the statement. But the send it category also, this one was like, I don't know if the other ones really even come close, because you have some like really trash technique and some of the other ones, which I guess is part of it, but they're just kind of like all to grass or whatever. And I might be having like some fuzzy memory with it.
One guy did like a Kong to like big drop onto grass, and then another guy did like a massive gainer. But like there's nothing that really comes close to this level of send, in my opinion. Dom's front flip to this awning is like the literal definition of send. Like so I commented, I was telling you about this, I commented on it when he first posted this, and I said, did you check your surface? Did you check the awning before doing this? And he said no. And because when I was looking at it, I was like, there's no way you can climb up to it. So like he's just going into that challenge with the idea that he doesn't know what the landing is like, if it's even secure, which I'm sure it is. Like, okay, you can trust, probably it's secure. But like, he doesn't know how slippery it is. And then on top of that, after you do the front flip and roll, you then are just gonna take like a 16-foot drop or something like that to hard ground. It's like there's I can't get over this one actually, because like this to me is bigger than like so many of the other ones he's done. In my opinion, it's
also like
the biggest accomplishment Dom did of the year.
Yeah. Also, like, why wasn't that the banger? You know, that could have been.
Certainly could.
I don't know. Like it's a weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap in these categories.
But it's good. Again, don't. I like the more categories.
Yeah.
It's very very cool. But when there's overlap, I don't know. Maybe open more categories. We can get into like the next one here. Not much more to say. Dom, crazy, send it. No one touched it. But next this is one that I think a lot of people are questioning and upset about, which is the mad scientist category, which I want to quote Lucas, who's now a coach here. He mentioned the other day that he felt like this category was made for Matt McCreary, and then they didn't give it to him.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I think those were the only two athletes as nominees.
Yeah, and to recap, so Joe Scandrett won, and there were only two. It was only between the two of them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Lucas. I felt Mad Scientist Award was made for Matt McCreary, and I actually don't necessarily disagree with Joe being chosen. Like, I feel like it could be a toss-up because the way I think about it is like both of them are doing really unconventional things and really like, you know, mad scientist-like things. They're doing stuff that like are thinking outside of the box, doing stuff that most people wouldn't think to do, and just trying new, unique ways of approaching things. My one criticism is Joe does really crazy stuff, but often doesn't connect it super well, or like it's not always super aesthetic. Whereas Matt's lines are almost always so nice to look at. It's so aesthetic and flowing. And Joe does undeniable. Like Joe does some really cool, crazy, weird stuff that I think is like opening the community's eyes to what can be done. Mm-hmm. And you don't always have to do the traditional ways of doing things. But I think for me it was a toss-up. And when they first presented the award, Mad Scientist, and they were like, okay, Matt McCreary, and I was like, cool, he's gonna win. And then they said Joe Scanner, and I was like, oh yeah, Joe. I didn't think about it. And then they gave it to Joe, and I was surprised by it. But now that I think about it, after like reflecting on it, it's like it's not that surprising.
Well, I don't know. Like, if you're trying to say like, what is a mad scientist outside of parkour? Okay, someone who's doing crazy experiments. You're doing experiments, but you're a little crazy in the head with the experiments. And yeah, that actually does sound more like Joe Scandrett.
Yeah.
but like it's weird because like the example they gave, I think it was Benj gave an example of him doing that backflip to pole. I saw Jason Paul do that first. That like Joe Scandrett didn't like did not come up with that.
Dom's done it too.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I mean, maybe he's the first to do it that high, and
certainly.
But it's weird because
there's better, in my opinion, there's better examples.
Yeah, a lot of his underbar work is probably like more in like the mad scientist category, where it's like double underbars or just weird entries into them and things like that, where most people wouldn't think of threading the needle in that context. But it's a weird category because again, I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, are we just awarding weirdness? And so like next year, are people, because it is a side of parkour where sometimes I really tire of when it's not done well. It's just, it falls really flat, and I feel that sometimes that way with both of those guys. There's a lot of like Joe Scandrett and Matt McCreary posts where I'm like, that was sick, and there's a lot of posts where I'm just like scrolling on to the next one. Like it's like, it seems like, okay, you just needed to post today. And this probably wasn't your best work, and
that might be the case, but
yeah.
But it also, like, I also feel like a lot of times people will post stuff that that might be hard or challenging or fun or interesting to them that just doesn't read.
Yeah, well, and it's like you're throwing darts, I guess is the metaphor. I don't know. It's like some of them, whatever you're throwing is not always gonna stick. So
throwing pasta at the wall, see what sticks.
Is that the one? Okay.
That seems appropriate.
But I think with both Joe Scandrett and Matt McCreary, the fact that they're always trying to be, or at least Matt McCreary really seems like he's trying to be different. Like he's, probably, I would have to guess that a lot of times it seems like he's moving in a way where it's like, I don't want to replicate anyone. I want to be just unique all the time and be flowing and expressing myself. And yeah, sometimes that's not going to work, and it's a lot like dance. And a lot of times I think he uses dance metaphors in a lot of his captions, where a lot of times like dance, you're just expressing and moving and and seeing what ticks. And sometimes it's going to be like recognized as genius, and you yourself might think that it's genius. And sometimes it might just be like, oh, that just kind of looked weird. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, it's like art. I mean, art can be interpreted in so many different ways, and sometimes it's like people will pay tens of thousands of dollars for somebody who sneezed some paint against a canvas.
Yeah, so I don't know how to. I think this is going to be potentially like a really problematic category in the future. Yeah. Maybe not, but it could be.
So this brings us to the last one that we're going to talk about today is the Lightbulb Award. Which the winner of was Joseph Marks with the Daisy, which is the move where he basically does a double lazy, which is where they came up with the name Daisy.
Is it double lazy or is it dash to?
No, it's double lazy. So he does kind of two-hand lazies twice, basically. But see, here's my question: is why wasn't Marks one of the nominees for the Mad Scientist Award? He's consistently coming up with unique ideas and brainstorming mad scientist-like experiments, movement experiments to bring into the community, and he gets other people to try it. So like when he came up with the Daisy, like for the next couple weeks, I saw people trying it and trying to recreate it or doing it in different contexts. So I think Marx should have been another nominee for the Mad Scientist Award, but I also agree with his winning of the Lightbulb Moment Award.
Okay. I think I differ on this one, and I can't. It's just because when someone showed me that clip for the first time, the Daisy, and they were like, "Whoa, this!" I was. I don't know. I was because it's on a box first of all, so it's like I think if it was on like a double wall, like two separate walls, because there's consequence and more precision involved, right? But because it's on like a box, it's just kind of, I feel like there's like 540 palm spin, and there's like a lot of like similar moves that I feel like I've seen. So like on first glance, I was like, oh, that's new. Oh, this is what he's doing. Okay, cool. But it just didn't, I don't know. It wasn't like a big deal to me. Like I understood. I'm not trying to say it's not difficult. I'm not trying to say like I can't even do it. I'm probably never going to do it. And it's really hard, and like it's cool to see new moves developing. It just didn't really like blow me away. Whereas one of the other nominees, which is really poorly named, did get what are they calling it? It's 540 180, 540 180 arm, 540, like they're trying to name it. It's a freaking catback 540.
Yeah. It's weird to say. So the terminology for like catbacks are 180s.
And sorry, this is Keelan
Yes.
Keelan, who is doing, we'll try to put a clip on here, but it's so he does a catback, which a lot of times popular is called a 180, which is a name I hate because there's just too many things called 180s in parkour. But you're on one wall and you're jumping to the other wall. We've at times we call this a dino turn at one point.
Yeah.
I like
it's a dino.
Yeah, I like catback.
Catback is a good descriptor, but maybe the Brits will call it an arm back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or even like I'm just thinking like if we wanted to go on the run with Dino 540.
Yeah.
Like it, you'd have to go to an opposing wall or whatever. But yeah, 185. You're just going to give it two numbers is like to me. It's a downfall of that sort of naming system and a big reason why you should just stop calling them 180s.
Yeah, I agree.
But speaking to the move also, like that one stood out to me more when someone first showed me that. I was like, cool, that had been accomplished. So like in terms of a light bulb moment for me, that one stuck out more.
Yeah.
But I can see why people lean towards Mark's, I guess.
Well, so the light bulb moment thing was it's almost something that's like hiding in plain sight. And then it's just revealed, and it's like, oh, duh, double lazy. But the reason why I think Marks wins that category is because of how many people started learning it after.
Okay.
Whereas I haven't seen anybody trying Keelan's move.
Okay.
Except for that clip, which is super cool, right?
And then so like, does that make him? Because Keelan is a bit of a mad scientist. Like in terms of his style, like he could fall into the mad scientist too. So. Like lots of overlap there, and maybe some weird choices, but also not very clear criteria. So it's hard to draw these lines.
Yeah. A lot of Brits on the list this year.
Yeah. One of the things I want to say too is like a lot of winning Brits, but I mean it is the world capital of parkour, so.
That's true.
I guess just like one of the things to say in closing here too for the Storror Awards is like I'm just glad I'm not the one making the decisions and coming up with the criteria because it's a lot of work to come up with that many categories and then have clear criteria and stuff, and I think keeping it loose is kind of part of it too, because like I said it's their money, whether it's their money or sponsor money or whatever, but it's their choice to do what they want with it. It is lighthearted and fun to some extent. Or mostly, I mean, it is about fun. So we have realms of like more serious competition where there needs to be clear sport and guidelines, and if that's what you're looking for at the Storror Awards, maybe look elsewhere because I don't think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Storror. They just putting up many of these athletes and just like presenting them to their audience is one thing, which I think is incredible, but they're also just like throwing down cash and making this like a more supportive event than just like promoting them. But the fact that they're promoting them and giving them cash, to me, that's like so awesome. So kudos to Storror for continuing to do the Storror Awards and also growing it from last year. So I think they're giving away more, like significantly more than last year, which is awesome.
Guess it helps since they got remonetized.
Yeah, remonetization really does wonders. But yeah, mad respect to Storror.
Okay, so we're gonna jump into our next category now, which has nothing to do with the Storror Awards, and it is a topic that we've wanted to, or a segment of this show we wanted to do for a while, which is technique critique. We had submissions, not all of them really for kind of submissions that we could really use for this segment. So I'll say once again, if you can send us a single clip or multiple attempts of something, probably something that you're trying to work on. So I think this works better if you're looking for some coach feedback on something that you're not sure about, or if you're just wondering, you did something and you're like, hey, is this good or is there something I'm missing? Does that, am I being clear here with the criteria of technique critique?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so first one, we have the handle parkour_la_armor, I guess.
La Armor.
Or and he's doing some wall pops or like running climb ups here. Tom, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, I think actually overall it's actually executed quite well, but there are things that he can improve on. So the main things are so there's two walls that he's doing these on. So the first wall pass he does, he takes 2 steps on that first wall, and then there's the platform, and he takes 3 steps in between the 2 wall passes, and then on the second wall he does 3 steps again. So he does 2 steps, 3 steps on the platform, 3 steps against the wall going up on the last one. And I actually think he can remove some of these steps. So especially on the platform after the first wall pass, he can get that down to 2 steps. So just by doing a top out that's a little bit more powerful, getting those hips up higher, take 2 larger steps, and then going straight into the next wall pass. And what that might end up doing is set him up for the wrong foot for his wall pass. But parkour is about adaptation. You need to learn some of these fundamentals on both sides so that you can make your flow or your lines much cleaner. So even though it might set him off on the wrong foot, I actually think even the second wall pass can be done in 2 steps. So instead of 3 steps against the wall, it could be done in 2 steps. And actually, by doing 2 steps on the platform, on the approach for the second wall pass, I think that actually will give him more power going into it. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, of course, but that's what I see. That's what I see can actually improve here. So reducing the number of steps is a great principle to follow in terms of enhancing your flow and just having smoother and more powerful lines.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think the standout for me wasn't necessarily the vertical footwork, but the horizontal footwork. Because when he comes out of his top out, he takes 2 tiny steps, and it just could be like a single stride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much agree.
Okay, so the next one handle is CTPT2612. This is a private account. I don't want to butcher the name, and I don't actually want to give out names on here. So, but that is the account. Anyways, responding to you, he sent us some lache prise, and there's actually lots of attempts here, which is cool because we're seeing like some failure and some struggle. The one thing that stood out to me here, and you have another point you want to bring up, is he has actually great shapes on the backswing. So casting into a hollow, and then we see like the dip into the arch. And then after the tap, though, I'm not seeing a lot of hip thrust required. So like tap and then hip thrust to get the type of distance and height that he's trying to get. You had one more point here.
Yeah, so in terms of his release, it looks like his right arm isn't quite doing enough on the release by pulling the bar back. So what I would suggest is to really emphasize that pull on the right arm to correct that position. So if you notice, he's actually coming into his landing and he's still tilted a little bit back, and his arm is kind of his right arm is kind of hanging back. Usually that is a sign that that pull isn't happening on the release enough to correct him, to bring that shoulder forward and stack him on top of himself, which would hopefully enable him to stick that landing a little bit easier.
Right on. All right, and our last video that we are going to critique here is coming from MMITO, I'm assuming, _PK. And here he is performing a level 4 climb up, which he's accomplishing. You know, yeah. It's not like the quickest or the most powerful one that I've seen. It also looks like the wall that he's doing on it's you know, one of those tiny cat walls, so it's kind of challenging. But what are some things that you think he could improve with his technique?
Yeah, just to start here, I think he's actually doing it really well. I do think there's a slight improvement that can actually happen here, and that's as he's catching on top of the wall, he's like a little bit upright, but what you really want to kind of think about here is a level 4 is much like a Kong at the end. So if you're more like over top, like leaned over, that top out is going to come out a little bit more powerfully, and it's just going to be a little bit cleaner. But I mean, this guy is actually doing super well with these level 4 climb ups as it is. Most people really can't even do a level 4 climb up, so the fact that he's accomplishing it to begin with is great. but just that little subtle tweak of just getting a little bit more into a leaned over position, thinking about it as a Kong, hopefully will help him to improve.
Yeah, and I think you pointed it out watching this, because I was like, yeah, looks pretty good, but we're just trying to give some sort of feedback, something to improve on here. And I actually remember when you taught me this move, that was like a big part of unlocking it, was feeling like a Kong, like trying to like pull Kong my way over the wall, and that really helped unlock that move. And then when I look at the clips, like, yeah, you could get a bit more of that pull forward. All right, so we got one more segment that we're gonna wrap up today's episode with, and it is 2022 goals. So it is the new year. We did talk about some things last year with the Storror Awards, but moving into, since it is the new year, I think we should talk a little bit about just some of our personal goals for 2022. So I want to hear from you first, and this is actually the first time I'm going to hear from it because you haven't told me yet. What are some of your goals for 2022?
Yeah, so we're moving into 2022. I guess the first goal that I have is I've been working on a dive holes video project since 2020. Actually, is when I started filming this thing, and I thought it was going to be done last year, and it didn't happen. So this year I'm getting pretty close. There's a few more that I need to complete, but be on the lookout for dive holes, a threading compilation of some of the best and hardest dive holes that I've done to date. It's actually not all going to be rolling. It's going to be some Kongs as well, and some other threading style movement. And so that's a big goal of mine. So I want to get that project out into the world. Sometimes these longer projects, they take like years for me to complete, and I was hoping to, this one was going to be an exception, and it's turned into a several year project. So here we are. It's happening this year. I'm putting it out there. Dive holes is getting done this year. Other goals. I want to stay consistent with YouTube. I want to continue growing this. I want to keep growing the audience. We want to be as helpful as possible to all of our viewers. I don't have like a number in mind for number of subscribers or anything like that, but it's more actually about consistency. So we're gonna be consistent this year on YouTube.
Yeah, we were getting 2 videos a week, and then over the holidays, as well as with a bunch of COVID restrictions and travel, and you went to go visit the fam. We kind of got off that, but expect that 2 video a week number to return, and hopefully we can also like increase some of the quality of some of the videos we're putting out there. So we're still learning, and I think part of this dive into YouTube has really just been like getting started. So and 2021 was the start. 2022, expect to see it can continue to grow.
Exactly. Improvements in our content, and we'll keep growing.
Yeah. So for me, or do you have anything else? Was that pretty much it? All right, we'll go on to me. Actually, something. So this just kind of reminded me. I wanted to think about one of my goals for 2022 is to actually have like a 2022 edit, which is something I wanted to do in 2020. Was just have like a year compilation at the end of 2020, and then I got halfway through the year and then had an injury that cut the year for me. And then I started to work my way into 2021, and then I had surgery. So 2021 was just a write-off for me. Like there's nothing parkour-wise or athleticism-wise that I did in 2021 where I was like, oh, cool, like this, I really am happy with this. So anyways, the reason I wanted to kind of bring back is just back to the Storror Awards really quick, is we were talking about One Man Army and Flavour video, and we have all these 2021 edits coming out, and it's kind of funny to think if all those were saved clips. So if you have like Dom's 2021 edit, and you have Scott's 2021 edit, and Verkey's 2021 edit, and countless others, would those be videos of the year? And this is where that sort of category kind of gets lost for me, and I'm curious like what Storror thinks of the criteria for that, and if this is actually going to change things for 2022, because if I'm one of those mentioned people, and I'm not making a lot of money or getting a lot of attention off of my IG if I want to save all of those clips or most of like the big ones for the end of the year at a chance at the cash that Storror is offering. Could be a thing. I don't know. I'm not in the running for that. I basically like the main goal for me is just like get healthy, and I think that's going to be a reflection of that. So if I get healthy and I'm able to start doing parkour again, that's a reflection of that. So far, everything with my operation and my injury and the procedure that was done on me, it is going, I think, according to how it's supposed to go. I'm 8 months post-surgery right now, and I'm just starting to do some parkour again. I'm not 100%, and I'm still probably have like another few months before I'm at 100%, but that's also prime time for parkour on season. So, hopefully I'll be able to get enough things done. I guess the next level of that for me is I too have a video project, a major one that I've been trying to get done since I actually started collecting clips that we reshot, but my initial clips for this were 2017.
Oh man, jeez.
So I should have finished this video project in 2019. So like along the same time like you were doing Project Diveholes. Like some of my setbacks is like I changed videographers because I'm trying to have this shot a certain way. So I changed videographers in 2019 because the one I was using, great guy, Ollie, was not available anymore. So I met Mateo, and Mateo became my videographer for this, and we've done over 20 shoots together. And I didn't finish in 2019, although I should have. I kind of put off some of the harder lines I wanted to do. So that's my fault. I should have. I was kicking myself like in 2020, thinking like, oh, I've been trying to get this one line for like over a year. I really shouldn't have been avoiding it so much, but I did. And then 2020 was going great until I hurt myself. So now I'm faced with like, basically I'm going to get out the video no matter what. That's going to happen. There are some like less difficult lines that even if my knee is, even if it's in the state it is right now, I can complete them. But there are like 2 harder lines. And that's like my big 2022 goal is like whether or not I can complete those 2 harder ones that are still missing from my initial vision for the project. But I have set myself a rule where regardless of all of that, it will be released by the end of the year.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully it's awesome.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. So put it all together because I still haven't seen everything.
I'm trying to keep it all secret. The other thing is just like the gym in general. So we've had like some rough years with COVID and stuff, but we had a lot of momentum going into 2020 that was cut, and then we had a lot of really good months in 2021. So I don't want to talk like revenue numbers or anything on this sort of program because there's not a lot of context for it, but I do think that if we can get over the COVID hump, we can actually have like a record year for sales in 2022. So if you come to the gym, just make sure you keep coming so that you can help me get me to that 2022 goal of having a record sales. And I think it's just reflective of like some of the improvements we've made also over the years with the gym, that we were able to deliver like a better experience for people. And so I feel like if there's not so many like world problems happening, that we can actually have a record year in sales for 2022.
Awesome.
We're off to a slow start though.
Yeah, we've got some restrictions.
Omicron.
That's basically stopped our momentum going into 2022. But I think once we get past this hump, I think it's going to be upward. And
I got one more goal, and I know you got to get out of here, but this one also affects you. Is SPL.
Yes.
Our other project. Okay, so yeah, it is a goal to have a 2022 Origins Parkour Pro as part of SPL Pro level competition with international athletes. I think, yeah, we will. So it will be a goal to have that happen no matter what. So even if we can't have it be a big international thing, at least like a US-Canada thing or something. But big goal for 2022 is at least have one big SPL competition.
Yeah, I'm on board. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've already said it, so it's
All
gonna
right.
happen. It's
Great.
out there.
Cool. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below what you thought of the Storror Awards, and what are your goals for 2022. And one more thing is send in your technique critiques. You can just DM it to myself or Coach Renee here, and we'll pick it up in the next STS. All right. Thanks for tuning in.